And we'll go out with a bang with a longer poem here. Thursday, January 17th, 2019 is the last poem I'll read tonight. Tonight is September the 11th, 2023. Anachronism, or good day for angry poems, I suppose. 2817 is called Henry. And it has a little quote underneath. Hock the ham, Henry. It's going to be a ragtag year. That's not attributed to anybody. My mom was a member of my hometown's Eastern Star group, which was the ladies' version of the Masons. Both groups used the same lodge, and one was clearly meant to be subservient to the other, but there wasn't much of that Masonic mystery when I was a kid. At least that's not my memory of things. But I do recall that Mom had to participate in some sort of inaugural or hazing event in order to qualify or become a member of the hometown's Eastern Star group. I'm not sure whether her materials were mandated or whether perhaps she got to choose from a list, perhaps of ladies of the Bible, but I remember that her presentation was on Ruth. She had to memorize it, and I helped her do so, or probably more like annoyed her while she tried to do so. The presentation was done in the first person, by which I mean Mom played Ruth. It was a performance of some sort. And that's about all I remember of that. It was a time, as I recall, when most Henrys had made it back from the war with parentheses and an S in it. But rarely would any make it to Sunday church service, save Easter and Christmas, of course. Maybe they were all making movies, as many of the Henrys had the pronounced features of the leading or pleading men that would appear like clockwork on the silver screen for every Sunday matinee. It was small town Arkansas, back when every small town had its own cinema, so presumably there were many Henrys floating back and forth on many silver screens on Sunday afternoons across the nation. While all of these large Henrys were appearing larger than life all over the nation, there were a lot of Henry's daughters too, and it is purported that daughters of Henrys often had a predilection toward deviant behavior, much to the chagrin of the Henrys, and a particular distaste and alarm to the moms of Henry's daughters. Of the deviant daughters, perhaps they were all, or mostly all, over the fact that most everyone in their worlds were smitten by Henrys. And, Henry was dad to each and every Henry's daughter. There was even a candy bar, Oh Henry, which by the time of me and my awareness of such nonsense always seemed just a little bit of fashion, or old-fashioned, a little bit out of fashion or old-fashioned to my senses, aged. In much the same way I thought of my grandfather's old spice bottles, of Sadie Hawkins dances, of Vicks inhalant or vapor rub, of which my great-grandmother's bedroom drawers were full and smelled of, and of Tarzan, excuse me, in any incarnation. I thought of O. Henry, and truth be told, of most Henrys. Yeah, probably. I had an Uncle Henry. I had a lot of uncles, but only one Uncle Henry. Uncle Henry seemed rarely to ever move, to me anyway. He's very tall, except to pack his pipe or pick it up or smoke it a bit. And despite being the patriarch of a fairly large and, again, to me, very active family, many members of whom would always be present, it seems, whenever I saw my Uncle Henry, wherever I saw my Uncle Henry, generations of them always there, keeping Uncle Henry company. He did not seem either happy about that nor irritated by that. He would just stand or sit, barely moving, looking super tall and thin. He was both, whether sitting or standing, also, by the way, almost always wearing overalls. But the pipe, it's the first thing that comes to mind the moment I reminisce about Uncle Henry. Perhaps because it was such a foreign item. It wasn't until I was older that than the Henry era that Dad started smoking one. And surely also because of the very distinct and pleasant sweetness that came from it. My Uncle Henry's pipe and the ritual of it all. While he never seemed to move, the act of getting the pipe ready to smoke and then smoking it was a pyrotechnically dazzling in that subtle Uncle Henry way. Was pyrotechnically dazzling in that subtle Uncle Henry way, but dazzling for sure. Dazzled I was by Uncle Henry's pipe. This, I think, in the early hours of the morning in a place many miles away from those times, and lots of other things in between that time and place, and this one in which I am now writing to you my memories of Uncle Henry and the Henry era. I can almost smell the sweet smoke from his pipe's tobacco, and wonder presently what occupied his mind while he so silently and contemplatively smoked it. I believe that's it for January's what I've done tonight, 2016, 2018, and 2019, with a zero poem 2017. Those were tough times, by the way, and now we're encroaching upon less tough times. We've got 3 more years of Januaries left. I will be here probably tomorrow or the next day with the Januaries of 2020. Thank you.